Hello, and welcome back to the Fallen Tree. We're out at the cabin today. We're getting ready to install the hardwood flooring that we've been working on all winter with our guest this morning, Dove. But this flooring job's not going to be like any flooring job I've done before. We're not using a subfloor. First thing I gotta do is finish putting in my joists. I used 4x4s for the joists in this cabin. Short spans, a little less than 8 foot, and each one of them's 1 foot apart. And I made the flooring accordingly so it would break over each one of these joists and not in between. So the first thing we're going to do is get going with a straight line. Since I've been carefully thinking out this project for probably over a year now, the only cuts I'm going to have to make are at the beginning and the end. But right away I run into an issue. My joists aren't level. So to take care of that, I've got this hand planer where I run into that issue. I'm just going to plane down. For the most part, most of them are level, but I run into a snag here and there. Now that we got that taken care of, this first row is important to get straight. We chalked a line. We're going to use that to line up these boards. I'm going to use trim screws for the first couple rows because it's too close to the wall to use my pneumatic floor nailer. If you watched any of my previous videos on this, and I'll put a link in the description of them, I just used tools that I had, such as a table saw, 12-inch planer, circular saw, but the only specialized thing I had was a shaper. But that could have been replaced with a router table. I made them about 5¼ inches wide, with the longest ones being about 9 foot long. This proved to be a little difficult to work with, being the sizes. The flooring jack was a must, even though I cut out most of the crown as I was making it. We still had little crowns and bows in the boards, but that's to be expected with a DIY project. I mean, this was a tree a year ago. So there the first 2 rows are laid. It takes a little bit of time to get it straight and get it right. It's well worth it. So now we're moving on the pneumatic nailer. This I hook up to my air compressor and can drive the nails. Well, what turned out to be a beautiful day outside definitely took a turn. Now it's pouring out. But good thing we're working indoors today. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the techniques of installing a hardwood floor. If you're interested in that, I've got a video on that, on installing a hardwood floor. And I'll put a link to that in the description of this video if you're looking for more details on how to install one. This flooring, a little unorthodox, being that it's all handmade. We cut down that red oak last spring, rough cut it, let it dry, and then over the winter, we started making it into the beautiful flooring you see today. So we got it up to the stairs. You can see I kept it a little bit away from the stairs. We're gonna put a trim piece there. And we gotta start cutting around the newel post. So we're gonna scribe that in here. And we're not gonna put it tight. And as you've seen, we're not putting the flooring tight to any walls because the wood's gonna expand and contract and we don't want it to buckle. So we're gonna leave about 3/16 to 1/4 inch around it for that purpose. Well, as I was making it, I knew I was gonna run short, but I was waiting to see how much I was gonna need. Ended up being about 8-9 pieces. So I had some more of the same tree drying and went back and started making some more. Well, here it is, the unfinished floor. Just got to put a piece of finish on it. Not a lot of scrap. The edges here, we're going to put a railing to cover those up. It's not perfect by any means, but it came out just the way I wanted it to. It's got a nice cabiny feel. The DIY stain that we made a couple episodes back turned out perfect, just the way I wanted it to look. I'll put a link in the description of how I did that as well if you haven't seen it. Now, off to the finish. I used an oil-based semi-gloss finish for this. The tool I'm using to apply it, it's called a T-bar. And this is what it looked like after the first coat. In between coats, I quickly went over it with some 200 grit sandpaper. And then picked up the dust with a microfiber cloth. I used 3 coats of this product, each coat working my way to the stairs. You can see I took off my shoes as I was getting on the stairs just in case I stepped in any of it. And here's the finished product. It's a couple weeks later, everything's dried. Got a little bit of dirt on the floor there, but it turned out amazing. The colors I got out of it, I'm very happy with. I did have a few small gaps in the floor where I could see through because the tongue was missing a few pieces here and there. But I've seen some old buildings that I've seen that in too. Now, looking back at this long and grueling process, some things that I would change up if I was making hardwood flooring. First of all, I would make enough for the entire thing. As you can see here, even though it was the same tree, I got slightly different color pieces. I might make them between 4 foot and 9 inches long. I'd also make them skinnier. That way they were easier to get tighter together. But I couldn't have dreamed of it coming out better. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Share it with your friends. Comment. Let me know what you think. Hope to see you on the next part of my journey at Fallen Tree 124. Till next time, my friends.